which way I should go. I was lonely, I was out of friends. Dead ends, dead ends. Couldn't bring myself to pretend, but in my darkest night, a breakthrough. Heard you call my name, and now I'm facing you. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky, as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Person I could be, without the chains surrounding me. Now you've shown me what lies behind the door. See me crying out the more, 'cause in my darkest night, a breakthrough. Heard you call my name, and now I'm facing you. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky, as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. They don't believe, they say I'm out my mind. 'Cause I got something they're all out to find. I was down on everything, was wrong, so wrong. Turn to see your face, and now I am reborn. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky, as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky, as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light.
Good afternoon, it's just gone 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon. This is Colin Kelly alongside Emma Baker. We're here again for the smartphone video show. We're normally here on a Friday, but we've been busy with other work and an Easter break and kids in the house and other stuff going on. But we can get on today. Emma, how's it all going, and what are you going to be giving us a little bit later on?
It's going great, thanks, Colin. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the show. We're going to run through 5 common mistakes that we both observed, really, in when people start to make business videos.
Yeah, particularly focusing on the smartphone. Emma's got a cool app to show you a little bit later on as well. And if you've got any questions about anything related to smartphone video production, the different apps, the different editing software, or maybe even the devices themselves, or the shooting technique, then you can get them in, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Where else are we?
Facebook, Twitter,
YouTube as well. We're on YouTube as well. Wherever you're watching us, you can get your questions in just using the live chat. And if you subscribe to us on whatever channel you're watching, you'll be able to watch on demand. And we're going to be here every week. Big shout to Fat Bristovka, a fantastic broadcaster. And also, Emma, you know that I've got lots of mates from my old radio days.
Yep.
Fat, I think, is one of very, very few who has had his own show at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
Yeah.
Remember those days when you could go to the Edinburgh Festival or any shows and watch live gigs? What was the show?
It was a one-man show that he did, and I unfortunately never got to see it. I think he was interviewing people on it. But I hope that as lockdown eases and the arts get back, that maybe he'll be able to do one again. Special day today, of course, as we ease our way out of lockdown and retail and hospitality opens up again. I know it's an exciting day for lots of people, and we have lots of clients and friends that work in those sectors, so I hope everything goes smoothly for you today. Also, Emma, as we come on air this lunchtime, I don't know if you've seen this on social media, it's a bad day for vowels. Another bad day for vowels. Do you know why?
Are there other bad days for vowels apart from today? No, I've got no idea.
Well, this is part of a trend that started with the social media companies and some of the different apps removing the vowels from their names. And the latest one, now this isn't some new trendy software developer that have removed their vowels. This is Standard Life Aberdeen, who are about as boring and as establishment as business can get. And they've announced, I love it when people don't just rebrand, they announced that they're going to rebrand, and they're going to call themselves Aberdeen.
Excuse me?
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
So Aberdeen, you have to pronounce it Aberdeen, but the vowels are gone. The vowels are gone. Aberdeen, it's easier. I'm going to defend them a little bit, actually,
Okay.
because normally I'd be the first one to slag off a business for doing this. But what it means is if you call yourself Aberdeen instead of Standard Life Aberdeen, it's much easier to make your logo a square.
Okay.
Because Standard Life Aberdeen, you can't really make that a square. And Standard Life, how do you unify a company if you've still got the Standard Life bit over one side and then you've got Aberdeen Asset Management over the other side? So you kind of need to change the name a little bit. But where I will make a fool of them is when they say the new Aberdeen name will be part of a modern, agile, digitally enabled brand. And it's like, what's all this modern and agile? Changing your name doesn't make you modern and agile. And they're going to make sure that they get full stakeholder engagement to manage the transition. At the moment, they're getting the Mickey ripped out them all over social media.
So essentially what you're saying, though, is that they're now not Standard Life Aberdeen, they're just called Aberdeen.
Yes.
Aberdeen.
Yes.
But you're supposed to pronounce it Aberdeen, so essentially they're just called the name of a Scottish town.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But spelt in a cool, funky way, and that's meant to show that they're pushing forward to the future of digital.
I agree with them for changing the name. I
Yeah.
just think to try and make out that this is some new watershed beginning is just ludicrous. And they should have known that changing it to Aberdeen and removing the vowels would just invite ridicule. And what will happen is the first time things go wrong for them, the first time that they make a mistake, they screw up, the value of their investments goes down or whatever it is, the first bit of bad publicity they will get hammered for that, which is bad news for the leadership, because it will be like they've already cocked up with the name, now they've cocked up with your money, let's get rid of them. That is probably what will happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a name that instills trust. As you say, if somebody's looking after your money, you want them to feel kind of solid and traditional, maybe, rather than pushing out into the future. And I take your point about the square logo, and I'm sure there's got many reasons for the rebranding, but I'm not convinced by the way that they've done that.
I think if you're concerned, like IBM is as boring and as good and as reliable as it gets. Just call yourself IJB or something like that. Just make something up.
It's surely got to be something that people can read and pronounce, and removing all the vowels makes that pretty tricky.
It does. Anyway, let's get on to all things smartphone video. We're going to look today at 5 common smartphone video mistakes. And I think the first thing with mistakes, I guess, is to recognise that to be able to look at your footage back and recognise mistakes that you might have made. And I think once you've done that, as Emma's going to explain, it's actually quite easy to fix. So I think we're going to run through a couple of these mistakes first of all, and then we're going to have a look at a quick training video that you've put together. And I think you're starting off with bad audio.
Yeah, bad audio. I think it's maybe something that people forget about. It's a bit of an afterthought sometimes, because you think, well, this is a visual medium, it's video, and you're concerned about your background and how you look and your hair and all the rest of it. But audiences are very unforgiving of bad audio. And if you've got an important message to get across, then you need to make sure you've got good sound. And I think on a smartphone, it's actually really easy to get it right. And so there's no excuse really for getting it wrong. I feel like I've talked a lot about audio. I've got a couple of vlogs up on our YouTube channel, on the smartphone vlog playlist and the smartphone video tips playlist, I think, all about microphones. But basically my main tip is just buy a very simple clip-on wired lavalier mic that plugs into your phone. We'll put links in the description, and there's lots of videos on the website describing the best ones. But yeah, that using just the on-camera microphone is never going to be good enough. You're not going to get good audio on that, and you're going to frustrate your viewer, and they'll end up clicking away and they won't get your message.
Yeah, and I think there's, viewers will forgive a multitude of other smartphone video sins because they quite like it if it has that rough and ready and that rawness to it. That's why we like watching it. We don't want it to be too polished, but if we can't hear the message, or if you're outside and the wind is whistling right through it and it's all distorted, then it's very difficult to listen to.
Yeah. So the having a wireless microphone, a wired lav mic that you plug it into the headphone socket or your lightning port, and then clip it on nice and securely on your top. And then checking the sound is the second thing. Buy the equipment first of all, which is, there's about £30. There's various brands that you can get. Clip it onto your top, and then check. If you're just using the normal camera app on your phone, record a little bit of test audio, have a conversation. If you're setting up an interview, ask a few questions and check that, somebody might have a really quiet voice, or you may be in a busy room. The mic should do a good job of picking them up, but chat to them for a couple of minutes in a natural conversational way, the way you would in your video, and then play it back to yourself. There are some mics, the one that I really like, the iRig lav mic, lets you plug your headphones into the microphone so you can monitor it while you're doing the interview, which is kind of extra reassurance.
The thing with this, I think a lot of smartphone video creators, they make it look so easy, but you have to understand they leave nothing to chance. They turn it on, they practice, they play it back, then they do that interview for real. If you're running a comms team, go and buy 3 or 4 of these lavalier microphones and keep them round the place, or give them out to key members of staff, and don't take chances with it. Don't think, we'll just busk it, we'll manage with the inbuilt microphone, you'll regret it later. You're spending the best part of £700-800, maybe even more than that, £100 on the phone. Spend another 30 quid and get a good quality lavalier mic. So poor audio is mistake number 1. Emma, give us mistake number 2.
Poor lighting. It can be hard sometimes getting the lighting right. Now you can luck out sometimes and you get the right perfect day, the right weather, and you're in a big bright room, and you happen to make a video and you think, oh, that looks great, but you've kind of done it by accident. So as you change settings and you make more videos, you'll kind of realise you have to really think about the lighting, and it's an absolute priority. More important, I would say, than getting your background right and getting everything looking just perfect, making sure that you're facing the main source of light in your room.
Yeah, that's really important advice. And I mean, because I think a lot of people, Emma, they don't live and breathe this maybe the way that you do, and they're in different locations all the time. They don't have a fixed lighting setup. I'm thinking of like someone maybe from the comms team that they get an appointment with the CEO. They get 20 minutes of this person's time, and they get to go to their office or their headquarters or whatever it is, and they're trying to do this quite quickly while they're thinking of other things. So make sure that the subject is facing the main source of light. I guess that's an easier one to get right. You can keep that at the top of your head. What else should they be thinking of in terms of lighting?
Well, that's all. A lot of it's to do with scouting your location beforehand. If you don't have any equipment with you, and we can talk about equipment in a minute, but if you're just relying on the existing light sources in the room, then it's scout the location beforehand. So if you're interviewing the CEO, you should know what their office is like, or tell them, listen, your office is a bit dark, we need to go and shoot this somewhere else, and find a suitable location, somewhere that's got a nice big window, where you can stand them by it, and stand them at an angle to the window so you've not got a direct light hitting them in the face, but you're making the most of that natural light.
Well, a lot of these offices, maybe if they're doing this in the boardroom, there's maybe strip lighting, or if it's more modern, then it's going to be the sort of spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, is that any good? Can you work with that at all?
The strip lighting, any ceiling mounted lights that are downlit, which is what you've got in most offices, are really unflattering. So that's the one thing to really look out for and to avoid. It will give you panda eyes, it will give you dark shadows underneath your eyes, which is why, you can then move somebody closer to a window, or move them towards a lamp, even if that's all you've got, and direct that lamp towards them. And that direct light coming on at eye level is going to cancel out those downlights, hopefully, and cancel out those shadows. If all you've got is the downlights and no other source of light coming onto you, then it's going to be a very unflattering video.
Right, so we want to get light on your face.
Basically,
That's really important.
Light
right?
on your face from kind of eye level, ideally just a little bit above eye level, but certainly not directly above.
I just want to freeze frame that there.
Certainly not directly above. That's not what you want, because you get really horrible, unsightly shadows. And that's why, maybe if you're getting serious about smartphone video, I often say on training, if you're just starting out, don't go out and buy lights and get all kind of bogged down in that, because it can become a hindrance to you. As you said, you've got 20 other things to think about. And the key thing is get the message out there. Make sure your audio's good. But once you get into it a bit more, and if you're serious about it, then just having a little rectangle panel light can make a huge difference. So you go into a kind of dingy office with those horrible downlights, and you have one of these little panel lights which you can buy for £50 or £60. Stick it on a stand at a 30 or 40 degree angle to the person, and then you've got some nice light, a kind of even diffused light coming onto somebody's face that's nice and soft and makes them look nice.
Yeah, and I think when you started setting up the lighting here in our studio, and I think the thing that I realised was it doesn't need to be much light. It doesn't need to be terribly complicated, because really all it is it's a bit of light in relation to everything else in the room. So even like a 10, 15, at the moment it's like a £15 ring light that's on me. It's not much, but it goes a long way and it makes a big difference, and it can be portable. I think as well, in a lot of video situations, people look better outside. If the weather's halfway decent at all, try and get them outside. You can get a much more interesting look than a boardroom or a stereotypical, manager's office. And that's where point one is so important. If you've got quality audio, you've got that lavalier mic on, then you can go and you can do that stuff outside.
Yeah.
Great. Emma, what is mistake number 3?
Mistake number 3, when we come to, is quite a really simple one to fix, but I see it an awful lot in videos, and it's the focus on your camera, and it's about locking in that focus. So your iPhone or Android phone, whatever you're using, does a great job of detecting people's faces. It's got all that software built into it. So if you stick it up on a stand to start doing a video, it'll focus on you automatically. It'll find you. But if you're interviewing someone for 10 minutes, or if you're doing a live video, I've seen it a lot in live videos, if the focus is still on auto, every time you move, the camera keeps trying to decide. You've not told the camera what to think, so still trying to decide, well, what's the most important thing here? And you get that horrible kind of pull focus effect, which is quite kind of like seasick kind of effect. It makes the image look kind of watery, as if you're locking on focus and then coming off.
Well, at the moment we're working with clients, and some of them are doing like live demonstrations. Like they're in a workshop, or they're artists, or they're making something, or they're musicians, and the camera or the phone is positioned in a way that they can't touch it. They can't access it while they're doing the demonstration or they're working. If they can't get someone else to hold that phone for them, lock it on and do the white balance, and if they are intending maybe to move around a little bit, is there any sort of halfway house? What would you recommend that they do?
Yeah, well, when you start moving around, it's tricky. The thing is, if you lock the focus, so just quickly, for people that don't know, to lock the focus on your camera, on most cameras, you touch and hold onto the screen, and that will lock the focus. So that overrides the automatic focus that the camera's trying to do, and tells it, that's where I want you to stay focused. So, if you're just filming yourself and you can touch the camera, it's on selfie mode, you can reach out, touch and hold onto the screen and lock focus. Now, provided you stay that kind of arm's distance from your camera the whole time, that'll be nice and sharp. But if you walk to the back of the room, then you're going to be out of focus.
So you can move a little.
You can move
as
a
long as you
little
don't go completely out of range of it.
It's got quite a long focal range, to be honest, the wide lens or the selfie camera on your phone. So you could probably move around a fair bit and still be in focus, as long as you know you're coming back to the same point all the time to do that demonstration.
But what you don't want is it continually sort of crashing in and out, because that's going to really distract the viewers.
Yeah.
Nothing ever settles.
And if you were doing some kind of live video where you're moving with the camera, then don't lock the focus, because you're changing the focal distance all the time. You know, you're showing people something that's a foot away, and then you're showing them something that's 3 foot away. So leave that, let the camera automatically focus on those things. So I'm talking about when you're a bit more static, you're standing in front of the camera, you're roughly the same distance from the camera for a long duration. You want to lock that focus off so that you get that steady image and sharp focus.
All right, it's just about 1:20. This is Colin Kelly and Emma Baker live from Comsteria HQ in Renfrewshire. You can find out more about us at comsteria.co.uk. We've got some on-demand training for you. We've got our blogs. You can see Emma's video vlogs on there as well. Lots of stuff. There's Comsteria podcast too, comsteria.co.uk. And if you do /store, then you'll be able to get some links to some of the products that Emma's talking about this afternoon. So lavalier microphones, there's gimbals on there as well, there's audio microphones, lighting, all sorts of stuff. comsteria.co.uk /store. We're going to come back in a few minutes because we've done 3 of our 5 common smartphone video mistakes. But Emma's got a new app to tell us about.
Yeah, it's the Spark. It's not a new app, but it's kind of new to me. I've not really used it much before. It's the Spark camera app, which is available only for iOS at the moment, but I've really been enjoying using it recently. I've been out and about making videos and vlogs and stuff myself, and I've been using this just to make really quick behind-the-scenes content. Hello and welcome to the smartphone video vlog. Today I'm going to show you a really nice app that I've been using recently that I think you will enjoy using as well. It's Spark Camera. Now this has been around for a while, but it's not something I've ever explored. But I'm finding it really useful now. The way I'm using it is I've been out and about making videos just by myself for the courses that I run and also for social media. And while I've been making those videos, I've been wanting to share some just simple, quick videos kind of behind the scenes of those videos, showing people the kit that I'm using and how I'm setting things up. And the Spark camera app is really useful for that because it's a camera and an editor all in one. And it's kind of designed with Instagram stories in mind. Instagram stories, Instagram reels. You can shoot landscape on it, but it's better, I think, in portrait mode for those informal behind the scenes videos and that real kind of informal vlog style. You're talking to the viewer, you're showing them around maybe behind the scenes of your video, a new product launch, behind the scenes of your business, a product launch maybe, or an event, and you're kind of commentating on it. It works really well for sharing little clips to Instagram stories or putting together a very neat little 30-second video for reels or something along those lines. So let's have a look at it. First of all, I'll show you how I've been using it. This was me last week. I was out and about, and that's got a filter on it at the moment because I was playing around with it. I was out and about making this video, like I say, and then I wanted to show people the GorillaPod kit that I was using, which is really handy when you're filming by yourself because you can just lay it down in the ground or grip it onto a rock or something and film some B-roll footage as you work away. So use Spark Camera in portrait mode, introduce the product, and then flip onto the other camera and show you what the product actually is. So that's what's really nice about it. You can flip between the two cameras while you're recording, and that's a nice setup. And so I show the product and then I flip back to the selfie camera to kind of conclude the video and show people what it's all about, you know. So a nice quick 30-second video put together really easily within this app, and then I could edit it in the app as well. I'll show you the camera, first of all, how that works when you're recording. If we come up here, everything's in big circles in Spark Camera, which is quite a nice design. And you open up the camera and you can just press record and start shooting. Basically, you can flip between your selfie camera up at the top here, or you can change the settings. You press the little A down at the bottom. If you just check what I'm doing there down at the bottom left, check the A and it brings up your camera settings. So you've got quite a lot of control within the camera. You can choose your resolution, 4K or HD. You can toggle your HDR off. That's high dynamic range. You can change your frame rate and you've got access to all the frame rates that the iPhone or whatever camera you're using already has. So there's 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, there's slow motion, and there's even 24 frames per second, which is the filmic mode. And you can toggle off your stabilization for the camera, So if you're moving around, kind of commentating on things, showing people behind the scenes, stick your in-camera stabilization on. If you don't have a gimbal in particular, put that on. This is another neat feature. You've got this little button here. If I press that, it puts you onto dual camera. So we've got this little circle at the top, and if I wave at it, that's the selfie camera. So we're operating both cameras at the same time. So that's why it's brilliant for behind the scenes. You could be talking here if you imagine where my hand is, and then showing people around your event, your launch, your product, behind the scenes, in the office, whatever people happen to be doing. And it will come out of that, just leave the double mode. There's other features as well. You've got a nice zoom at the bottom here. And I'll just show you how it works. When you start recording, you see the duration coming up, and you could chat away. So maybe you're introducing your video first of all and, saying hi to everyone. Maybe you're doing a kind of 15-second clip for stories. Press stop. And then maybe you walk off somewhere else, you see something else behind the scenes that you want to share, press record again. And it saves it all as the one video file. It's really, really nice. But I can edit it. If I've made a mistake, I can still edit it. But it's all saved as one file, and it's all neatly color-coded as well. So every clip that you record gets a different color, and that makes it really easy in the edit and easy for your planning. You can see laid out before you what it is that you've recorded. So I'll show you the edit if we come out of camera now, and I will edit just that video that I'd made earlier. When you come to edit it, you first of all see the video in full, and you've got all your tools just like any editor. Any editor. Along the bottom, you've got all the tools available to you. Easiest thing to start with is, of course, the scissors tool to trim your clips. So you see your first clip, and you tap on that, and you get it in this circle again. And this is basically, I've already edited this, so it would be a full circle when you first open it, and you basically set your start point and end point. So you top and tail your video. That's where I want it to start. Drag the big dot. That's where I want it to end. Drag the big dot, the little dot. And you do that for all your clips, start point and end point. And keep working through until you've got the video and the timings, and you've missed out all the errors you want that you've made. You can duplicate your clips as well. So let's say if you've made you can't edit in the middle of this clip, which is a bit frustrating, but you could duplicate that clip. Well, that's me twisting it, sorry, rather than duplicating it. You can duplicate the clip, and that would let you just, cut out that little bit in the middle so you can get round that limitation. And then you can do things like add transitions. Just like most editors, you can change the speed. So there's not as much in this as an editor like KineMaster or Adobe Rush or LumaFusion, but it's so easy and so kind of intuitive to use, and really nice, like I say, for that Instagram stories or Instagram reels, simple behind the scenes vlogs. And once we come back to this screen, you can see you can add text, and it's very like that Instagram style. So I like using it for sharing across platforms. So I'm not just creating a video in Instagram, create it on Spark Camera, and then I can share it across all platforms. You can add music, and you can mix the music, loads of features. It's really good fun to play around with. I would really recommend looking at it and having a think about how you can apply it to your business. Like I say, if you're running an event and you want to just show people behind the scenes, this is a really nice feature. If you're making a product and you want to kind of catalogue the beginning, middle and end of that process, again, this is a nice feature that lets you use that double camera to commentate and guide people through what's going on behind the scenes of your business. So Spark Camera, check it out, and keep watching the Smartphone Video vlog for more tips on kit, and the Smartphone Video show live for lots of discussion about how to use smartphone video for your business.
Wow, that looks great. Emma, make my day. Tell me that app is free.
It is.
Hey! We love a free app.
But I'm sorry to break it to you, Colin, iOS only at the moment. I think what I'll do, I'm going to do a bit of research. I meant to do it before the show, but didn't get, just about alternatives for Android devices for all you poor souls who are stuck on Google Pixel or whatever else. No, there will be. There's loads of apps that do similar things, but Spark Camera is one that's up there. Loads of people talk about it, and it is really nice and easy to use.
It looked really good. Thank you very much for the demonstration. Emma's adding videos almost every other day at the Comsteria YouTube channel, so go and check that out as well. And you can get them all, get everything that we do at comsteria.co.uk. We're working through our top 5 countdown of 5 common smartphone video errors or fails, to use the vernacular. We got to our 4th one. No story, no focus, no point, no purpose.
Yeah. The last 2 are kind of moving away from the more technical stuff that we've talked about, more to this real storytelling and the creative side of making video. And I think is a big fail, as you said, for a lot of videos, just to lack a sense of purpose. And you really need to think about your audience as you plan your video before you switch the camera on. They want to know straight away, what's the point in this video? Why should I watch it? So at a very basic level, you want a clear beginning, middle and end. That's the absolute fundamentals of storytelling. So, even if it's just like a montage that you've put together of an event, if nobody's talking, at least have that event with a clear plan in mind where we're going to have everyone arriving and waving at the camera. We'll have a few clips of the speakers. And then how are we, what's our punchline, our conclusion of this video going to be? So even a simple montage video should be planned with a clear beginning, middle and end in mind. I
always say to clients, you don't practice with your shop window, right? If you work in retail and you're lucky enough to have a shop window, you don't practice in it. You practice somewhere else, and then what goes live in your shop window is something that you take pride in. It should be the same with smartphone video production or podcasts or anything creative that you do. You do need to practice, and you should practice. Do that somewhere else, so that then when you do it for real, it actually looks pretty strong.
Yeah. And it's funny you should say that, because I was going to say, the YouTube channel, if you go to the smartphone video tips playlist, there's a video there called Center Parcs Mini Explorers. And I use this in my training. This is a little video I put together a few years ago of our boys doing a little adventure trip thing at Center Parcs. And it's that idea of practicing. This is essentially a home video, but I'm talking to people about how do you make a home video more like a video for your business with lots of cuts and edits and a very clear beginning and middle and end. So it's kind of looking at that idea of how you build a story into a simple video, and practice on home, practice on your kids and your family, so that when you're doing it for your job, you're up there already.
Well, and I think as well, the difference that makes, and I remember watching you making that video, was you knew what you needed the kids to do in order to get the shots you wanted. And so what we then try and do is translate that thinking. If you're running your business or you're in the comms team and you're with the manager or whoever you want to speak to, is you start directing them. I need you to stand over here. I need you to say this. Now I need you to do that. And you've almost you've storyboarded it in your head. You get exactly what you want, and then that makes it so much easier to edit. But it all starts with this purpose. What do I actually want to happen today?
Yeah, you're always making a video because you want the audience to do something, feel something, act in some way. You're looking to transform people's behaviour. And so a kind of mindless, aimless video with lots, you might have put on a great event or have something really fun in it, but if it doesn't have a story to it, then it's not going to connect with your audience, and you're not going to have the desired effect of driving them towards doing something that you want them to do.
And with good planning, that makes tip number 5 easier to avoid, because that is a poor coverage, you've said. What do you mean by that?
I mean poor coverage for your B-roll, cutaway footage, whatever you want to call it. So, you might be interviewing people, let's say, using the example of an event again, you may be interviewing people about the event, but you also want to be shooting the event to have lots of images that you can cut away to. And I certainly in the early days, you used to get quite frustrated with me. I remember when we were making videos and I would be ages outside. I'm just getting some exterior shots of the building and people arriving and all the rest. You'd be like, it doesn't take that long. But my mantra was kind of, you can never shoot too much B-roll, because I knew the feeling from the even earlier days of coming back to edit a video and realising I've got nothing that fits. Somebody's mentioned something in an interview, and I've got no images that match the words that they've said, so my video feels flat because I'm ending up just having to have looking at people talking instead of looking at what they're talking about.
Yeah, so every 4 or 5 seconds we want to be sort of cutting away and seeing other things. And that's also really important because if the person that you're interviewing, if you want to edit what they say, because this is video rather than just purely audio, we can't just cut their mouth, cut them. That's going to be a jump cut. It's going to look horrible. We need to cut away to something. They keep speaking. We can edit the audio and the visuals have that nice sort of fluency to them, and we can't cut things in if we haven't filmed them in the first place.
Yeah, so at a very basic level, that's what you need coverage for, the B-roll footage to cover up those edits, because you're not, you interview someone for 10 minutes and you maybe only want 1 minute of it. So that's the basic thing, to cover the edits, and then as you start to get better at it, it's trying to match what they're saying. So usually I would make sure I've written a shot list before I go to interview people, so I've got a rough idea that there's enough visual interest here that I can go and shoot to match this interview. But also while I'm interviewing somebody, I'm listening really carefully to what they say and taking a mental note. Or you could have somebody with you who's helping you and they're writing down as the interview goes on. They mentioned X, Y, or Z, so afterwards go and film those 3 things.
Well, there you go. 5 common smartphone video mistakes, or howlers, or fails, or gaffes. I'm just getting that in for my search engine optimization. Yes, and how to avoid them. And Emma, that's great. Anything to add, or what are you going to give us next week?
Next week, I'm not sure. We had a few ideas. We might delve deeper into one of those elements if people are interested in that. Really, we've spoken about poor audio. So, how do you get good audio? We've just scratched the surface really at the moment. So, if you're interested in that, let us know. Or if lighting's more your thing. And another idea we'd had was talking in detail about storytelling and that more creative side of the job.
Yeah, and there's a couple of very good videos that you should watch on the Comsteria YouTube channel. Emma's been out and about with her iPhone 12, playing with the ultra wide angle lens and showing you what you can do with that, and also comparing smartphone video microphones. That's all on the Comsteria YouTube channel. We are going to go and take a look at the Aberdeen share price to see if it's up or down with all this ridicule that they're getting. And until next time, from me and from Emma, that's us. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.